Good something. It's been a strange day, hasn't it? So glad you could make it. We're very excited to be able to have the forum with Andy and Amanda talking about fraud, scams, and identity theft because it has become, as you know, such a big issue. And we have true expertise here. But just to remind you, the forum operates at your will, or we need your support. So we really could use people to join the board, to just volunteer, give us suggestions for other forums, and to help us financially. We don't need much, but we need something. So thank you for being here, and feel free to email, give a call, and let us know what else we can do for you and make it better for you. Thank you.
What is it music now? Hi, I'm Roger McDaniel. I'm on the board of the Citizens for. Can you hear me?
Well, that's right.
And very happy that you all came tonight for this program. We're especially happy for those of you who are here. The weather, I think has kept some people away, even though it's not as bad now as here at Lightstein. So you all have extra responsibility to pay attention, to ask questions, and to tell your friends everything you learned tonight. We had a similar program about 5 years ago, but the problems continue, and thieves improve their technology all the time. And you will hear, it seemed like a good idea to revisit these issues. Since you're here, it's clear that you're interested. But if you have friends who think they are not vulnerable to fraud, scams, and identity theft, please tell them to think again. Doesn't matter how sophisticated or well-educated you are, as you will hear more, the scammers are trying to get you. And as we get older, certainly as I get older, we aren't as sharp and quick as we used to be. What I try to keep in mind is be alert and call somebody if something happens. As it happens, and for me, I tend to call my computer consultant or a banker or the police. As it happens, we have two experts from a banker and a police officer here tonight. Amanda Constant is the banking center manager at Cape Cod 5 in Orleans. She grew up on the Cape, and she's been with Cape Cod 5 for almost 19 years, rising from teller to her current position, which I think is a good story in itself. She knows the community well and has a lot of experience assisting our neighbors with these issues. Among other things, she's designed content for AARP training. Detective Lieutenant Andrew McLaughlin is the third highest ranking officer in the Orleans Police Department. And as the department's point person for dealing with tonight's issues, he also brings a lot of experience to tonight's panel. He's been in Orleans for 20 years. He's worked on statewide and national cases, and one case that started in Orleans actually went international. The department has recovered more than $140,000 from scammers, so there are problems, there is hope. There will be time for questions after Andy and Amanda make their presentation, but if it seems appropriate, we'll be able to take some questions during the presentation. I'm going to ask for your help with something. You'll hear a lot of stories this evening, both from our panelists and from the audience. The stories are important for helping us understand and remember tonight's points, but it's very easy to get bogged down in stories. Everybody has a story. And we may have to cut back on some of the stories for the sake of time. We have handouts in the back of the room, so before you leave tonight, please take handouts, especially tonight. We will have handouts, but the topics we're talking about tonight, the points that we want you to remember, are not always easy to remember, so the handouts can be very helpful as a reference to have. So with that, I'd like first to turn it over to Amanda Constant.
Thank you all so much. I think it's turn the phone now. Are you guys able to hear me okay? Okay. sometimes I can be a little too quiet. So if I do get quiet, feel free to let me know, okay? Thank you so much for coming out. I know it's not the most beautiful night, but I very much appreciate it. So often I see people come into the bank when they've already been a victim of fraud. So to see all of you come up here now to be proactive and to learn more about it and to learn some of those steps that you can do to protect yourself, it's really a great thing. And definitely share these tips with your friends and family as well, okay? Let's see if I can do this. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is how they target us, and how do these fraudsters target us? What are the top scams, and what can you do about it? Recovering from an incident and staying up to date. So how they target us? They target us through our phones, through text messages, through social media, through pop-ups on your computer. And so it's so important to be vigilant. You'll see a few terms on here that you may or may not have heard before. Called spoofing. Have any of you ever received a phone call where it says maybe the phone number of your bank and then you go to answer it and it's not your bank? Yeah, it happens a lot. There's technology out there where they can pretend to be anyone they want to be. So that's what spoofing is. Then you have phishing and smishing. So that's through your email and through text messages. So getting links, getting documents for you to open. What they're trying to do is to get you to open these documents with malware. We'll be talking more about it, but I wanted to point out those terms before we go further. So the number one thing you see is phishing. So you have someone that you know and trust that looks like it's coming from them. You get an email, and it might be from your bank, it might be a utility company, it might be a friend. And in that email, you'll have a link, or you'll have an attachment, and they'll be asking you to open it. And so when you open it, it gives those bad actors a chance to install malware to the computer, or to take you to a website where they might ask you to put your credentials in. So say it's from your bank, or say it's from your bank, and you click on a link. It might take you to a lookalike site to your actual online banking that you have. And so it's asking you to sign into your online banking so that you can see their message or those fraudulent transactions or the things that has. It's going to be very convincing. But we'll talk about the steps to prevent that, but your bank will never send you a link for you to click on.
Amanda, just
Yep.
a question on that. You those fraudulent online things, if you put in your username and password, will they then capture that and be able to use it at the bank?
They'll capture that and they'll be able to use that themselves. But you won't know in the moment right away because it's going to look just like your bank, so you won't see the problem right away. So it definitely gets some very sensitive information. And on top of that, if they were to gain access to your computer through that malware that they might be installing onto your computer, they'll be able to see your email, anything you have on your computer. So they might get into your email and send an email to your contacts. It could look something like, oh, I'm in the hospital, I'm having a hard time with my medical expenses. Any chance you could help me out by sending money to me through Venmo? It could be anything. But your friend thinks it's you. So it's something you definitely want to protect. You definitely want to protect your computers and not click on any links or open any attachments that you weren't expecting. Go straight to the source. So if it says it's from your bank, you're going to want to contact the bank and find out if it's expensive to you. And the bank, we don't mind. We want you to call us and say we don't trust that email that we got. Okay? Even if it is from us. So I love this example. This is an example of a text message that you made. So it'll come from, it could be any bank really, but it will, in this case, we're going to say K5, that's where I'm at. But it will say that there was a debit of $272.80, and they're trying to get you to understand that you didn't do that transaction. And so they want me to click this link to tell you that, guess what, that wasn't my transaction. But if you look really closely at the link, I know it's probably small from a distance, but it says Cape Cod Sprinkler Irrigation.ms. Is that Cape Cod 5? No. So they try to trick you into clicking on a link to report fraud. And your bank is not going to give you a link to report fraud. So over here, I like this example too, but it probably doesn't show all the way back there. But there's two websites right here. It says maybank2u.com, maybank2u.com. They look alike, right? The difference is in the A. So it's different. One will take you to a legitimate website, and the other one will be the one that the hacker created. Same thing with that, citibank.com and citibank.com. the difference is the A. Looks very similar, right? So when it's down, you don't want to click any links. Even if you think it's something, you don't want to click it. So the top scams that we see. The number one scam that I see is the tech support scam. So you're maybe on your computer and you see a pop-up in your corner that says that there's something wrong with your computer, maybe a detective something. But don't worry, call a phone number or click on a link so they can get help fixing it. If you were to click on a link, it's going to take you to the fraudsters, bad actor, however you want to call it, to their website. It's not going to lead to anything that's actually going to be helping you with the problem. If you were to call the phone number, they might ask you to download something onto your computer so that they can gain access to your computer, so that they can get your sensitive information like your online banking user ID and password. But with the tech scam, they want payment for their services, right? Because they're helping you get rid of whatever that virus might have been. So they're going to ask you for your card number. And at the time, you might think, well, they just helped me solve the problem. But there really wasn't a problem to be solved. They went in and did something, looked up your information, and then asked you for your card number. So anytime that they're asking you to call a number or to go to a website and a pop-up on your screen, that's not anything to click. They won't give that to you. Let you know right there that it's going to be fraud that way. And they shouldn't be asking for your card information. No one should be asking you for your online banking information. So we talked a little bit about bank spoofing and phishing. So spoofing is when you get that phone call, you think that you're talking to someone that you're not because your caller ID said that it was your bank or utility company. Or smishing the text messages that you would get that look like they're from your utility company imposters. You might get a phone call, text, email saying, you didn't pay your electric bill. We're going to turn off your power if you don't pay your bill. But don't worry, you can make your payment by clicking on this link or by calling us at this number. And when you call, you're not actually talking to the utility company. So they might ask for a gift card as payment. They might ask you to Venmo. They might ask you to send cash. Usually it's going to be something more electronic though. I see gift cards a lot and I see Venmo and Zelle a lot. Government imposters. This is one that I actually received, but I knew better because I had trained. But they told me that I didn't pay my taxes and the police are going to come and arrest me. And I said, well, the police know where I am. That's definitely not going to be anything that's real. They're not going to call you or send you an email or send you a text to say that you didn't pay your taxes. Romance scams. So it could be when you meet somebody either online or through text and you become friends through that. You think you become friends through that. You talk a lot through there. You think you know that person. You have some really great conversations in the beginning. But then that person might fall ill. They might have a medical problem. They're not able to pay their bill, but they really need some help. And as your friend, would you be able to help out by sending me some money so that I can pay for that expense? And it doesn't just happen once. Once they realize they're going to get that, they're going to keep asking and asking and asking. And they're not really your friend, and they're not necessarily even one person. So think to be careful how you meet somebody. So if you're meeting someone solely online and they ask for money, that is a huge red flag. Family emergency scams. So you might get a phone call that says that your child or your grandchild, they are in the hospital, they got in a car accident. And they need money for medical expenses. And they need it now. They need it urgently. But they're going to create urgency around the call, so you don't have time to think, ooh, maybe I should call them to make sure they're okay. You might be tempted in that moment to actually provide that money to that actor. Humanitarian scams. So right now with the fires in California, you see a lot of fundraisers to go support those who are impacted. There's a lot of legitimate ones out there, but there's also some scams that are in there trying to trick you, ultimately. They are going to look like the real ones, but they're not. And so you really have to be really careful about who you're donating to, and if it's really the cause that you think it is.
So if you generate an appeal for humanitarian, what should we do?
So you can
Tell which is legit.
absolutely. So you want to find out directly from the source. So how are you finding out about this? organization that's looking for money for this cause. Did they reach out to you? Did you hear about that? How did you hear about it ultimately? Are you hearing it from the organization themselves? That's a good indicator if you're actually on the organization's website, you're in contact with a trusted contact that you know through there. It's really hard to tell which ones are scams, but you do need to look up to make sure it's a registered charity. And we will talk about that in here too, but there's Charity Watch, which you can take a look at and kind of see if some of the charities are actually listed on there. I'm not going to spend too much time on business, but the one I do want to draw attention to is the business email compromise. So say you have a real estate closing and the business that you're working with, their company had an email compromise. You're talking with that company, so you know that that's really a person that you're talking to. You're really doing that transaction, so you know that part is legitimate. But maybe their computer was compromised, and they got into the email and they're silently watching in there. And it comes time for you to send a payment. They send you wiring instructions. But the fraudsters get in there, change some numbers around so that it goes directly to them instead. So what I would say with that is anytime you're sending money and you're receiving instructions through an email, it's just to really make sure that you contact the person directly and confirm the instructions for where you're sending it. Then we talked about the tech support scams. What can you do to protect yourself? You don't want to trust any pop-ups that come up. You don't want to trust if someone calls you and says that they detected a problem with your computer. Can you log on so we can take a look at it together? Anything like that, you don't want to do any of those. Trust your gut. The second you say yes to any of these 10 things, they're going to be in your computer and accessing your information. Big shipping notifications. Did any of you receive those around the holidays? Yeah. A text message that said that your package isn't going to arrive in time for Christmas. Yeah. They need more information. They need more information to get to the right address. I got a ton of those for the holidays. But it's hard to tell because you really are ordering a lot of things. So you have things that are legitimate. You have the for notification. So this one kind of sneaks in there and you might just click it without thinking. But you don't want to click it. You want to go directly to the carrier. So UPS, FedEx, whatever it's going through, you want to go through their website to track it. Because if you were to click on that link, they're going to ask you for your personal information. There's all things that they can ask you depending on which direction they're going to go with it. But I know that a lot of people got that. We talked a lot about the Zoom call, but I would just say that if you do answer a call accidentally and it's not who you think it is, you hang up right away. If anyone's asking you for personal information, that's not a good call. And if you do think that it is maybe your bank or someone that you trust, give them a call back at a number that you have for them. So if it's a bank, in that case, the back of your debit card, no matter what bank you're with, will have a customer service number on there. Just call the customer service number. You have a person named. You will call us first? We do call you sometimes, but we're not going to ask you for any passwords. We're not going to ask you for your online banking. So what's tricky is if it's a spoof call, continuing with the bank example, they want to verify that you really are you. So say I call you. They're going to say, can you tell me your card number so I can confirm that it really is you? Can you tell me your full account number so that I can confirm it it's really you? As a banker, I'm never going to ask you that. Okay. We have other ways that we can verify. We are not going to be asking for account numbers. If you hear them ask for online banking credentials, you know for sure that you've got a scam. Because no bank would ever ask you that.
Man, this reminds me of something that I try to remind myself. Tell me if this makes sense. Is if something seems at all odd, don't trust.
Exactly. Trust your gut. Anything sounds remotely suspicious, it's not worth it. Call that. To someone that you know and trust. That's great advice. Investment scams, you might have people say that I can, usually on social media where you see this, where you might see a Facebook post and someone has some really great success with an investment. They get the high returns, very little risk. That right there is a sign that it's a fraud. There's high returns without the risk. But anytime you're dealing with it, you don't want to take a recommendation on social media. You want to talk to a trusted financial advisor that may be for you. You don't want to take advice from social media. A lot of people will comment on things, but they are the fraudsters. We talked about bogus charities, but just make sure that you're taking the time to know where your money is going. gift cards, if you're purchasing gift cards in the store, if you look on the back of them, just make sure that they haven't been scratched off. Because sometimes they'll scratch them off and then you go and you make the payment and you just funded the card for them. And we won't be able to use it. So take the time to look at the back of the cards. Do they all look alike? Is there anything that's different about them? Okay, so we talked about all those bad, scary things. But how can you protect yourself? The number one red flag is urgency. So all these phone calls, all these texts, they're coming at you with a lot of information fast. They want you to react. They don't want you to take time to think. They want you to react. So in response, you want to slow down. So if they're sending all urgent, you want to take a moment to pause. If they ask you for your online banking credentials, as I said before, no one legitimate is going to ask you for your online banking credentials. Unusual payment methods. So say you get any of these phone calls and maybe an EverSource example, your bill's overdue and they tell you to take out money from your bank and to then go to Bitcoin ATM and make your payment there. I know it happens a lot though. We see a lot of the Bitcoin scams. Or if they tell you to make the payment in gift cards, that's definitely a digital payment. One business wants the gift card instead of the cash, right? They want their payment. Secrecy. This one actually does happen a lot. So you're talking to these fraudsters and they're going to tell you, you can't trust your bank. They're under investigation right now. You need to trust me. Or don't tell your friends and family about it. Or they'll give you a story to tell your bank or your friends and you might ask you questions.
Why do they sort of come in bunches? You know, like I'll get a call on Medicare wants to tell me something, and then 2 days later another one from Medicare, and then 2 days later, and then you go for months and you don't get them. Or same thing on the FedEx one, you get them, or the next day you get them, and they sort of come in groups.
Yeah.
They all want to take care of our arthritis. They just send us the proper equipment.
Absolutely. As long as you give them your debit card and your online credentials. It comes in weeks. So sometimes you'll see certain ones more than others. I don't know if there's anything particular that makes it that one particular thing, but I do find that people will come in with one thing for a while and they'll come back in for something else. Right now I'm seeing a lot of the romance scams and I'm seeing a lot of the text scams. So it comes in waves. They might flip to something else in a couple months. But I know, it's crazy. And the thing too is if you actually answer any of those and you do fall victim, they'll sell your information. So you'll get even more calls, even more requests to sort through. So you really have to be careful. Don't answer the phone unless you know for sure who's on the other end. Let them see the message. So how to protect yourself? Make sure your computers and devices are up to date. You don't want to let that lapse. Make sure that you have your virus scans, the most up-to-date version of everything. If you're using internet in public location, just be really wary of what you are putting out there, what you're doing while you're on there, because you're on their space. For password management, I know none of us like passwords, but it's really important that you do complex passwords and not use the same password on a regional website, because if they gain access to one password, they'll have access to all of them. In addition to that, to implement the multi-factor authentication. They'll have a text message come to you in the second form. So you'll put your password in, then you'll get a text message, or you have a token, which is a code that's usually on the device. You want to have that back. And then on top of that, to use your fingerprint or facial recognition, which is really easy to do on cell phones and iPads.
So there is a way to save our. I lost mine, and I'm going to a lot with my phone now. I can't get it repaired, but I don't know my password, et cetera, et cetera. And it's been almost a year now, and so I'm stuck.
Password for what?
Like my phone,
Your phone, yeah,
from Microsoft.
for Microsoft.
And I have a contract, I have a check that's cracking and stuff, but can't tell them my password. They don't know it. So I don't know what to do, and they don't know what to do, really.
I don't know the answer to that one. Do you?
Stop in the police department, and I can try and help you.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
It's helpful to have a partner up there.
I know.
So your online activity, it really does matter. So we give a lot of information when we're on social media, even if we don't need to. Do any of you post about your pets or your kids, grandkids, anything like that? Reunion that's coming up, anything. So that's it. You guys are all in better shape than a lot of people that I talk to. So by posting a picture of your pet with a name, you've probably given a security question away. What if one of your security questions is, what is your favorite pet? And now it's on there. Or say that you put in there about, or reunion that you're having at Knoxville. What high school did you go to? So there's things that we're giving away without even needing to. So it's just important to be mindful of what you're putting out there. Mailing checks, check fraud is still a thing. So if you're mailing checks, it's good to go inside the post office, not use those blue boxes, because sometimes those bad actors get into those boxes and take those checks. We talked about online credentials, but I can't stress enough, don't give your online information to anybody, not even to the bank. Person-to-person services, that's convenient, but once you send it, it's gone. So I mentioned Venmo earlier, with Venmo, Zelle. I had one the other day that was Apple Cash, which I hadn't seen before for a fraud situation. Once you send it, it's gone. So it should only be used for people that you really closely know and trust. So say you do put that link.
Oh, and say, with only, with people you know and trust, and that you confirm that this goes to the person.
Yeah.
No, not that
Great, I would
it says that they're there.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's a great clarification. You definitely want to make sure that you also even talk to that person. So say you're sending it to your husband. Make sure that you actually physically talk to your cousin on a phone number that you have used for them before, and make sure that you really are sending it to them. So say you do click on something, you want to contain it. So if you did something where they're now on your computer, you want to get that computer shut off and disconnected from the internet right away. Get it turned off all the way. You don't want to keep it on. One of the messages will say, don't turn off this computer. Turn off the computer. And then you're going to report it to the bank, because we need to shut your account down so that they don't get into anything. We can stop your online banking, we can stop your account until we have a chance to have you come in and work with us on it. And then you want to go over to the police station, and his team will be able to help you with that portion of it. But it's important that you do both, because you need to notify your bank. You have to protect your account, and you need to go to the police so that they are able to take your report and help you with the next steps as well. So you want to, for the recovery part, you want to make sure that if they got into your computer, that you go to a proper place to have your computer cleaned. That's not the time to go to your friend who does something with their computer sometimes. You want to take it to a professional. That way they can go through everything and make sure that nothing is left.
So what place is this professional?
You can go to places like, it's not limited.
Geek Squad, it's
Yeah,
Staples.
exactly. Yeah, I've had people go to Geek Squad, Staples. There's a Mac.
Mobile map doctors or specialized in Apple.
I've heard great things about them too. So there's definitely places to go, but that's not the time to have your neighbor who does spend some time on the computer. You want to make sure you're going to a professional. Change all your passwords. I know we talked about how painful passwords are. You want to change them all, and not on the compromised device. And you can stay informed by researching lead SPM. I have a few up here: Federal Trade Commission, FBI, ID3. But my favorite is the AARP one. It's not just for 50 plus, it's for anybody. And they have a lot of articles on there. And also we have our bank security center where you can learn about the latest. Yeah,
Sending their handout.
yeah. Mhm. Thank you.
All right, well, while we're setting that up, I need 2 volunteers, so I can volunteer and make someone do it. So I see the sign here. Can you use that pen for me, sir? The sign the signature. Sign.
What's on it?
Anyone? That's not to be yours. I do. Miller.
And who are you? And we trust who you are?
We make, yeah. So this is tonight. Just go in the address.
Signing a document.
Nobody exists. There's been times that actually I've been gone to people's houses and I've been told to leave because they don't know that I'm a police officer. So I said, that's fine. I have a problem. I've got a cruiser here. Call the station. Look my name on, my Facebook, our Facebook page. My face is out there. So I have no problem with that, being told to leave someone's house. It's, I'm not offended by it.
I was introduced to him by the police chief, so.
So what I did here is I have 2 signatures, right? One is with a ballpoint pen. The other is with a Uniball gel pen. I'll explain why this is important. This gel pen will save you a lot of money. It'll save us a lot of work and you a lot of headaches. So I'm going to put these signatures in these simple household chemical here, and I'm gonna wait for about 10 minutes, I'll pull it out, and I'll show you the difference.
So we can't use our Cape Cod 5 pens anymore?
I didn't use yours,
Is that what you're telling me? Because I use them every day.
so already I can see what's going on. So, thank you everybody for showing up tonight. I know the weather's not great, and we'd like to be at home, I'm sure, under a blanket, watching Netflix, but this is very, very important that you're here. So I'm gonna talk to you, and we're just gonna right arrow. So some of these slides I'll skip by because the reason you're probably here is because you've probably been scammed been contacted by a scammer. So you're aware of what scams are, what's fraud, and that. So how does that identity theft happen? Usually there's a breach somewhere. My information's been breached. I know your information's been breached. So they get it from the trash, right? Because you leave your trash outside. They can leave your trash in the container. They can take that. They can get into your mailbox. They can get it from maybe a business that was forwarded it to. They get it from online, security breaches. They trick you to revealing certain information. Like Amanda said, they'll call you just to confirm something. Now you're giving them the information. Your wallet or your purse, right? They can do that. You're entering the information on an unsecured website. You're at the airport, hotels, and like coffee shops. They're all public Wi-Fi. So I could sit there and I could generate with a router a Wi-Fi signal, and you think you're connecting to the coffee shop, and now you're entering your username and password, and I'm actually just sitting there 25, 50 feet away from you. I've created essentially the wireless internet, and you're connecting to my internet. You're not connecting with that. So that's something to be aware of. Do not use public Wi-Fi entering your username and password. Do not log on to the airport Wi-Fi. Do not log on to the hotel Wi-Fi if you can help it. Okay? One of the new scams is that they'll slip something under your door at the hotel. It's a flyer saying you're having a deal on pizza and subs and buffalo wings and mozzarella sticks. You call up, and you're just calling me down the hall. And I'm answering the phone, acting as if I'm the pizza place, and you're ordering pizza, and I'm just down the hall, and you're giving me your credit card number. Right? Pretty genius. So I've seen what pretend to offer a job. I had a friend of mine who got in a jam with that. They will call you up saying, hey, or you'll apply online for a job, and you're entering your information. You're sending a copy of your license, which she did. You're sending your date of birth. You're sending all this information, applying for a job, and no one's hiring. There's no job for that position. So they're looking for people to give information. It's just like fishing. You throw out a couple hundred lines, you're getting someone to bite. So how to protect your identity, and Amanda talked about some of these things. Check your explanation of benefits. Someone calls you asking for information. There's no such thing as a free cruise, right? No one's calling. If they're calling you asking for something, don't get cute. Don't try to talk to them if you know it's a scam. Just end the conversation. Just end it, hang up, block the phone number on your phone if you know how to do that. But they're very, 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 very good at what they do. They're awesome. I've talked to people who have owned companies, people who have multiple residences, multi-millionaires, people who are CEOs, that have multiple degrees. They get tricked. They all get tricked. There's nobody who's immune to this, trust me. They also will get aggressive behavior. They'll swear. I've talked to these people. I'll call them back from my phone number, from my cell phone, and I tell them that I'm calling because I'm getting back to them. And I have a victim right next to me, and I'll call them back and I'll talk because I need to learn what the lingo is. And they get aggressive. That's a clue. They get aggressive. But urgency is absolutely the slam dunk. They're always saying, you got to do this now. Don't tell anybody. It's a gag order. Your grandchild's in jail right now. Right? You've heard about that? Grandchild in jail scam. You can't tell anybody. You tell someone, then let's know the deal's off the table. You need to wire us money. Now the person got, the reason your grandchild's in jail is because she hit someone pregnant. The story just, it snowballs. Now the baby is died. It gets tragic. And tragedy is one of the other clues also. It's always tragedy in a lot of these scams. Wire transfer, gift cards. We're not sending the IRS gift cards to pay your taxes, right? They're not listening to iTunes. All right? Don't send gift cards. So reducing your risk, look for charges you didn't make. Be alert that bills that don't arrive, you expect them to. My sister-in-law had her mail forwarded to Miami. So she didn't get mail for 2 weeks. All her mail was forwarded because the bad actors went to the post office, either online or in person, and had her mail forwarded. So it just became a giant mess.
Yeah, it sounds a little perverse to say, wait a second, the problem is that the bill didn't arrive.
Right.
But
Right.
that's exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
Anything unusual.
Yep. Anything unusual. Again, go with your gut. If it's anything unusual, like question it. You can always call us. We're here to help you. And a lot of times I can figure stuff out pretty quickly. I can figure out if it's a fake website. I can figure out the person sending you pictures. It's been somewhere else sending other pictures. So Google reverse image search. Use that. If you're in a relationship and someone sent you pictures of themselves, you can drag that image into Google reverse image search. So if you go to Google, there's a little camera. Click on that camera and drag the picture of that person in there, and it may show up that picture is in other places on the internet.
By the way, there's a lot of stuff that you're talking about here. Don't forget the handouts when we're done, because you're not going to be able to remember everything that's being said. The handouts are really valuable. And these folks don't mind if you call them.
Not at all. Call me. I can save you and me a lot of time. Trust me. So this right here, this is the ballpoint pen. Can you see there's no ink on there? Okay? That's a gel pen. Uniball gel pen. I was tired of marketing for Uniball all this time and not getting anything out of it. So what I did was I wrote to Uniball and said, I'm constantly advertising and marketing your company because this pen prevents check washing. And I'll explain what check washing is if you're not aware.
And Uniball is a gel.
It's a gel pen. So what I did was I said, can I have pens that you'll send me and I'll give out to the audience so they can use these pens to prevent their checks being lost. There's a whole basket back there. These are the gel pens.
Right.
Please take one. Okay?
There's a lot of handouts on here as well.
Yeah, the handouts up there, the gel pen. There's a reason. So it took me 5 minutes. Right? So when I break into your mailbox, because the red flag is up, I'm taking your bill and your check you sent. And I'm watching the ink. I'm watching the take to the order of. I'm also changing the amount. And I can take a picture of your signature and copy it, or just cover plastic over that, and it'll have your signature, my name, which the account I'm closing right after, and I'm changing the 1,000 to 10,000. So use the gel pens because it'll see. Use antivirus software. I know that Hannah talked about that. Don't just I use the one I used recently. I like the Viper, VIPRE. I'm not advertising for them, but that's just one that I've used. You can use Norton, you can use McAfee, I believe is still around. But use a trusted virus protection and update your computer operating system. Of course, create strong passwords. I know who we do. We use the same password for multiple sites. You just run the risk, so just be aware of that. Look for the HTTPS. S stands for secure. You're on the website. Because it looks like your bank, because it looks like Amazon, because it looks like a site, doesn't mean it is. Child theft, IP has also been increasing. There's handouts up there. They're opening accounts in children's names. So when they now apply to colleges and their FAFSA forms to get into college and financial aid, parents have realized that their child now has credit card debt and they're just barely 18. So your grandchildren. Down. Again, unsecured Wi-Fi for coffee shop hotels. Do not just throw away your computer or bring your phone to Best Buy and give it to them. Okay? Or whatever. I'm not coming down to Best Buy, but wherever you return you're swapping this phone out, getting a new phone. And don't just throw your computers away at the dump because people can go there and grab the hard drive information.
You have it cleaned off, right? And take it-
I was just, if you're gonna get rid of the computer, snatch that hard drive.
You don't
snatch-
take it to a place to have it
You
cleaned.
can, yeah, you can. You can't have it cleaned up and wiped clean, but you don't just want to throw it away, okay? Credit card skimming, that is something that I haven't seen down here in Orleans. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but when you go to a restaurant or you go to a gas station, you put your credit card in, they will have, you may be putting your credit card in, getting gas, but there's also a reader in there gathering your information off of your card. So,
So a bad actor may have put in something.
yeah, right. A bad actor will put in like a plug or a wire inside that gas station. Well, we just keep the kiosk of the gas station. And they'll come back and they'll gather your information off your credit card.
How do you protect against that?
Well, I'll show you. You can't monitor your accounts. Watch your account. I check my accounts every day. I can't buy a cup of coffee without getting an alert saying I just bought the coffee. So sign up for alerts. Go into your bank, right? I know they have it. Do the two-factor authentication. Also, when you do something on the order something online, if I buy like plane tickets online, I have to like get two-factor authentication, which would send a text to my cell phone just to make sure that I'm working.
I think if I go to Cumberland Farms and zip and zip,
You may not know, but I'll show you what they put on I'll show you what they put on there to keep an eye out for it. This is important. You've got to do this. Got to do this. I do it. I'm the nerdy guy who does it every 4 months. I check my credit. It's not a hard credit check. It's a soft credit inquiry. I go to the dealership and they say, "Oh, you want to buy the Dodge Durango?" Yep, we're going to run a hard credit check. It's going to ding my credit. This will not. This number here, you can check your credit to see if there's any accounts that are open, someone else's social security number or an address or an employer is on your name. I've done this. It happened to me. My close friend, roommate, his information was on my credit check. And I also said I was a manager at Bertucci's. I never worked at Bertucci's. He worked at Bertucci's. I love to go there. I didn't want to work. So, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Those are the three major credit reporting bureaus.
Has he, on the credit, after Equifax had their problem a few years ago with
Yes.
getting hacked, I've gone in, I just keep it on freeze on all those things all the time.
Okay.
It's a nuisance if I want to get a credit card.
It is.
I've got to release it.
Correct.
But is that overkill or is that a good idea?
If you feel like you've been a victim of something, or if you feel like you've maybe been compromised, then I would freeze it. It is an inconvenience. I've done it because I froze my Home Depot account, and I went into literally buy like a screwdriver and a tape measure, and it became almost a mortal problem because I had to call Home Depot corporate, and I had to give them a password over the phone with people behind me who weren't happy that I was standing there creating a lie. So, if you think you've been a victim or that you've been compromised, then I would put a freeze on. But at least check your credit. Check that. Yes.
So are you saying that it's better to order it this way than my credit card, which is a city card?
Yes.
They send me a thing that I can look on their website.
Correct. And as long as you can see all of your accounts that are open, all of your accounts that are closed, like I have that through Credit Karma. That's what I use. That's what you're talking about, something similar to that.
Okay, you can't see them, but I know they just get you like a high shape thing with what your ultimate, your score is 90.
Right, your FICO score.
Yeah.
Right. So if I order my credit check, they send it to me in the mail. I've never had a problem.
Okay.
and I can see all my accounts that are open. I had a Honda Odyssey 20 years ago, and that still is on there showing account closed, paid in full. So I can see all that. I can see all my addresses I've ever lived at as an adult. I can see email addresses. I can see bank accounts that are. But if something's open, it shouldn't be. That's a problem, and that's when I would freeze.
Okay. Andy, so these are the major credit reporting agencies.
Yes.
But as someone asked, you also, banks will offer you, tell you that they can track your credit. So I wanted
Yes.
to weigh in on this.
So it wouldn't be from the bank itself, but she's referring to the how about my credit card too. We just giving you a snapshot on the health of your credit score. It's not actually giving you the credit reports. For the bank will run your credit for totally things like that, but not just for a check. So we definitely want to go through the resources that he showed to make sure we don't have to show.
I prefer to call. You do have to give some private information, like how long have you lived there? More than 2 years. Your last name? Is there a suffix in your apartment? You could give some information to get some, which, I mean, I don't know.
Who are you giving that information to? Roughly.
Essentially, you give it to a robot when you call the number, and they spell your last name.
So, I mean, is this a legitimate thing that you're doing, or is this with these agencies, or is that somebody, is that a bad act?
Annual Credit Reporting Bureau. I call. It's in those. I know it's in those handouts that I'm handing out to. The phone number is in there, so I call and it said, "You're allowed one free credit check per year for each of the 3 major credit bureaus." I do it in April, Equifax. I do it in August with TransUnion, and I do it in December with Experian. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I cover myself. April, August, December. Boom. April, August, December. I keep doing that.
And it's the same number for all
It's the same number, and you can say, do you want all 3? Do you want 2? Or do you want 1? I go 1. Experian. I'll call you back before once. No? That make sense? Yes, sir.
The mail forwarding thing. I haven't heard of that one. How do you prevent that?
Well, so what they've done is they'll go online, or they're very rarely they go into the post office showing their face, but they'll go online. So let's say I do 66. I'm down in Florida 6 months out of the year, right? And I'm up here the rest of the time. I forward my mail because I want to get it. So people will contact the post office and request your mail to be forwarded to their address. So now, you get,
They can easily do that without.
well, it's harder, but it's like anything else. At first, it's easy. They're hopefully making better steps at preventing from happening. But they're getting information. They're getting your picture online. They're creating a fake license. I've seen these fake licenses. They're good. They're really good. I mean, yeah, they can do that. Yes, ma'am.
I got a letter saying, one of the, either Experian or something, had lowered my credit rating, and I've always paid my credit cards on, completely every month. I mean, occasionally I have to ask, question something that I didn't know what the charge was, and I didn't go back and question it because I didn't really want to do that.
But I would check your credit, and when they mail it to you, you can dispute. So when I say, hey, I was never manager for Tucci's, and I explain myself, that's all it is. I send it back to them, and then they remove it.
I mean, I did find out one of the things that I questioned was a name from my dog's tick medicine or something that
Yeah.
it wasn't a company that I recognized, so I questioned it. So I didn't know if that's why they lowered my.
Yeah, I don't know why they would lower your credit unless it was a
I
date.
didn't know if it was a scam. That's what I'm
Oh.
saying here.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know if lowering your credit would be I mean, it's usually a bigger, it's other things that come into that. So
That's what I
just
think.
that by itself.
Does it make sense in that case to call this agency? To call them, not necessarily to check the credit, but say, things are worth my credit.
Yeah, you call one of those 3.
Call the agency.
Yeah.
Call the
Yeah. Right. If your identity is stolen, again, it's on those handouts, but you should come in and file a police report It doesn't have to be something long and drawn out. You want basically, you want an incident number to file, whether it's with the bank or with the company, to show that you actually were a victim of fraud. So if you're a victim and something was compromised and you're out money or you're out identity, like someone took your identity, like your license, or someone took something of yours that belongs to you, your identity, come in and file a police report. Again, it doesn't have to be something long. We'll give you a case number and you can file that with that. Like Amanda said, once you give money away or once you engage these people, you're pretty much a mule or a target, and they're going to keep coming after you. And they're almost like going to sell your information to other people too. This is ways, I know you have this on yours, right? IC3, and you can file that with the federal government, the FBI, and they'll compile a list. They're not going to really get back to you on anything, I don't think, but they'll at least gather the information for you. So credit monitoring, the difference between that is like, this is like credit conduct. It'll monitor your credit and say, hey, it's letting you know if someone opened an account in your name. Okay, now it's too late. This is like a life block where you pay for it per month or per year, and then that should prevent that person from doing it. That's a difference. This is monitoring, and this is protection. Makes sense? I'm not gonna, personally, I don't feel that some of these don't work. Like I've opted out of getting, I don't get a lot of mail. My wife was like, do you live here anymore? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you don't get any mail. You get more than enough. So to opt out of get these calls, these solicitors, a lot of them are foreign bad actors, so they don't care about the Massachusetts laws. Hovering over email, right? We've all gotten these Amazon emails, right? The reason why I'm using Amazon, they're a huge company, Apple, they'll usually say, dear customer, dear member. They're not going to use they're not going to say, dear Andy McLaughlin, right? So if they said that, it's more like, okay, they need me. So it's more general. But if you hover over email address, like this is an actual one, you can hover over it, it'll come up with another email address. So just take your mouse and hover over it. You can see the blue of the email address. Hover over it and it'll show you something that's.
Will I do it with your phone too? Because I don't use a computer.
You can do it with your phone.
Just like you do that.
Yeah, you can do it with your phone. If you do get a scam email, I'm going to want to see the header of the email. I'm not trying to get too deep, but I want to see where it came from. So don't like if you could screenshot it instead of forwarding it to me, that's helpful because I don't want to be moved into your scam.
If I save it, it's like serious because I sometimes I save the scam so I have proof that I was getting them and how often.
Right. So screenshot. If you can screenshot it, don't forward me your scam email, please.
Like, this may be because one thing you told me is if somebody is uncertain about something, you can very quickly figure out where that really came from.
Yeah.
And you love to do it.
Well, I'm just on camera right now because my wife called me. And she's like, hey, we're looking at getting a dog. And there's some dogs that are a good deal. And I said, all right, well, send me. She said, but I think it's a scam. So she sends you the website. I look at the website, so I can go in the back. I can find out when the website was created. I can find out the day, the time. It was the whole website.
Dogs can't be sold, but I just put it.
Well, that's what exactly it is. You see all these people, beautiful dogs, professional pictures. There's probably 12 separate, pictures of these beautiful dogs. And I'm like, this website was created a month and a half ago. They're awesome at marketing and selling, but it's not. But they're selling a dog for a third of the price. So I can tell, and sometimes I can tell the city and country was created. I know how to do that. I won't tell you how to do that because that helps them if anyone's watching this or it gets out to them, but I can tell you pretty much. Okay? So if you call me and say, hey, this is silly, Andy, but I'm looking at buying a cat or whatever, this is what I got, then you tell me if this is legit or not. I can pretty much tell you in a couple minutes. Okay? We're here to help you. Totally are here to help you. A lot of time for you. These are some cases that we've had here. This happens multiple times. The home rental stand is constant in summer. Grandparent and jail stand, I've done that. That actually went international. We had Canada was involved. Without getting the whole long story, but we had 5 people serving federal time for this. And we ended up getting a couple $100,000 out of it. So, and we actually reimbursed a victim with some money. So, because we need money in Brazil, the guy actually flew out from Houston and wrote a check at the court to my victim. Wrote a check. That's awesome, right? But what happens? If they're willing to fly out from Texas to write a check for a lot of several thousands of dollars, they're making money, right? That's what that tells me.
Touch on National Grid Eversource at the bottom.
Okay, National Grid.
Really your names here.
Yeah, so National Grid, Eversource, these are just utility companies. They usually call our businesses on a Friday at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the summer and say, if you don't pay, we're going to shut off the power. And it's July 4th weekend. You can't do that. So it's the urgency, it's the panic. You got to do it now. It's $3,000. And then the company, the business, small business in Orleans is like, what do I do? I can't have my business shut down. So they'll also do it to you also. They'll call you. I've gotten a phone call. So then I go online and I call Eversource or National Grid. Even if they want to change my meter, I'm not talking to you, but and I hang up and I call them back. So always like measure it twice, cut once type of thing, okay? Don't believe it. Anyone calls you, don't believe it. I call you and you say, I don't believe you're a cop. Okay, call me back, stop in. You know where to find me.
Because this reminds me of, it's like if somebody calls and says, your cousin is in Brazil, stranded, needs money, well, that feels a little weird. But if Eversource calls, well, I may not like Eversource, but I know Eversource.
Right.
It's easier to trust.
Of course.
Your name.
Yeah, and they're gonna come up, they're gonna call you with a number similar to yours. Right? We've all had that?
Yeah.
774, 508-237, whatever, like 255, whatever your number, they're gonna call something similar to yours. So when you asked the question earlier, why do these happen in clusters? Because there's a huge breach and all these phone numbers get dumped basically to the scammers because they breached it. We've all gotten that you owe the money for the toll scam, right?
Yeah.
How do I know you got?
I got
Because
Let's go ahead next.
it's Massachusetts numbers. We're all lumped in this thing, so that's how I know. Because I get the same ones. So this is what you're looking for. Stickers. They'll put stickers over the credit card where the receipt comes out, right? Because they'll put stickers at gas stations. The reason they do that is because if that's cut, it's an evidence sticker. If it's cut or if it looks like it was ripped off, then you know that that door is compromised. So let's say I own the gas station. I put the stickers on my, right? And then I have my employee go out with their, whoop, they scan it, whoop, scans it. That way I know. That's why there's a barcode on it. So they scan it, showing that they shut the gas pumps. Because that takes a little bit of liability up to them when people are scammed. They're scammer.
How do they scam it? How do
Well,
they do?
I'll show you. Like that. They cut that sticker, they get that key. It's an easy enough key to get. I get that key, I open that door up, I plug my skimmer in, I shut the door. You go to the gas pump for 2 weeks, along with other thousands of people. I come back, cut, pop that open, pop that out. Now I've got all your credit card information on there.
So if we see the steel and it's not, and it looks like it hasn't been touched at all,
Correct.
are we okay?
Yeah, I think you're good. You're safe.
And they all have the seals on them?
No.
No, I don't think, I don't know what I'm
Or you go inside the gas pump, the gas station, and pay the person inside. So if you're gonna go to a gas station, don't go to the furthest pump away. Go to the one that's closest to the front.
If you pay by smart pay, it's directly to them, through the card.
What, the tap or the
We take a smart card and it already goes right to their cover line.
their card? Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be almost like a gift card.
No, it's just a card we pay always, so we, instead of paying cash or a credit card, we put it in and it comes right through, goes, pays,
Asking you
Cumberland.
use a Cumberland credit card
Yeah.
at a Cumberland.
Yeah, it's
station.
called smart pay.
I don't know because if it has a mag strip on it or if it's got, a mag strip, it's easier to gather the info instead of the little chip, right?
Yeah, it has a strip on it.
Okay, so that's harder to cipher, gather the.
There's something on one of your slides, I think, that talked about it's better to use instead of putting it into to tap it instead of
Yeah.
even the chip or the slot.
Tap or stick it. Right. So if you leave your red, flags up, that's a clue. That's telling me you have something in there. What do you have in your mailbox?
No game type check.
Right? Check. Or Christmas time, I'm gonna go down and wipe out the whole neighborhood because they're sending out letters, right? Cards, cash to the grandkids or the kids, right? So that's clue. Okay. That's actually a mailbox near the cave that like with blue bins. They've made it, you've noticed it now, they've made a lot of them with the little,
Yeah.
right? And the reason for that is because, so we actually had these, we ended up catching two guys, that were doing mailbox fishing with these traps. They'll take, the water bottle, Gatorade bottle, and they wrap it with glue or like the mouse traps that you leave in your garage to catch mice or snakes. It's just really sticky glue, so they were trying to fish into there, the blue bins. We ended up catching them. I seized their phones, their cell phones. I went through their cell phones, did a search warrant, and you wouldn't believe what I found on there. I found them creating credit cards, like stacks of cash, and so we ended up grabbing these two guys, but they ended up causing a lot of problems. They ended up stealing washing checks. That's what they're doing. Over $120,000 here at the Cape. So, I need to mention, like, you tell everybody about who your pet is, pet's name. You go on vacation with your family. Don't let me know you're in Florida for the week, having a great time. Okay? Because now I know you're not home. So, send all your pictures and all your posts on social media after you get home. Don't do it while you're away. Because you're gonna have a garage sale in your house. This is actually an email that I got. But this is awful. It's a wounded veteran. Someone was looking for money for a wounded veteran, so it's disgusting. They'll go to any length to steal money. So, yeah. Pet sales, lottery, tech support. I just remember IRS tax season's coming up. That's a big hit, usually in April. So, gift cards again. I know Amanda mentioned it. I never take the first gift card off the rack because you walk up, you grab it, and you go, and they scan it and pay the $100. Now you just funded the person who scratched off the back of the first. Because they're just taking the front ones, they're scratching the PIN card, the PIN code, or the PIN number, and they're putting them back up. All right? So, pull off, I guess I'm not saying, but it's the one that come back. This is something I have not seen, but people will leave thumb drives, those little thumb drives, they'll leave them next to your car, or they'll leave them somewhere in a store. And what are we gonna do if you find something? Oh, what's this? You're gonna go home, you're gonna plug it into your computer. Okay? So, video on it. I want you to don't pick up a thumb drive and plug it into your computer. Okay? So this is just, so total losses for residents in Orleans, $470,000 in cash that was lost. So we get a big push on educating people. Total losses was 131,000 a year. We didn't recover a lot then that year, but I know like I just said. So I seized about $140,000 in cash. So
So is this, so there were less lost in 2024 than in 2023
correct.
because people were more vigilant?
I don't know. I mean, I only know what's reported to us, right? Not everything's reported. I know that. Not every victim's reporting they're a victim because it's embarrassing, causes a lot of problems with the family, right? What do you mean you said cookie brand? Yeah, I thought it, thought I was sending it to.
Do you think it's because of COVID? People weren't working and they're using their cards a lot more? Or?
Yeah, so during COVID, it started when people and couriers were actually going out in the houses picking up cash. You get the, hey, this is Attorney Joe Hines. Your granddaughter's involved in a car accident in Mexico. You need to leave $9,000 in the front porch. I'm gonna have a courier come pick it up. This happens. It's happening right now, like recently. And then they'll send an Uber driver out or a Lyft driver out with the mask on. Right? The masks were not common before COVID, right? You never walk into a bank with a mask on in 2019, right? So, and then the courier who has no idea, who works for Uber, is told, go pick up a box at 123, whatever, Main Street, Anytime, USA, and then bring it to me. And they're literally taking it and they're driving it off Cape. And there's thousands of dollars in cash.
Let's see if there are more questions. You guys have been very good about asking questions as we've gone along. Are there other questions anybody has that you've been polite and waiting to ask? Don't be embarrassed. That's one of the messages. Don't be embarrassed. Oh, thank you.
Are there any programs that law enforcement is using to actually go after these people? I mean, I know after the fact, it sounds like you try to educate people about it beforehand and you try to help them after the fact, but is there any proactive law enforcement activity going after these guys? Because, I mean, all these phishing things are everywhere, right? And clearly law enforcement could go after some of these.
Right, so I have to have a victim, number one. I have to have a victim who's willing to cooperate, who's willing to report it. So if I catch two people literally fishing inside of a mailbox, that's a crime. That's a felony. So they're placed under arrest. I seize their cell phones. I do a search warrant on their phones. I now gather that information and I push that out to the postal inspector. I push it out to Cape-wide detectives. We share information on what's going on in trends. And usually when there's an offender here, they've offended all these other places. So proactive is me coming up, talking to people, educating, doing PSAs on our Facebook page, on our Town of Orleans website. That's educating. But then charging someone, arresting someone, yes. Getting their information. Like I'm doing a case right now where I am going, like someone used a stolen credit card and picked up a MacBook at Best Buy. I will be getting video from Best Buy. I'll be getting information that I can't discuss right here. It's pending. I'll be doing subpoenas. I'll be doing search warrants through Best Buy. I'll be getting the serial number through MacBook. Because they all know that information. So yes, we do make arrests. We do charge people. Sometimes they'll have a cooperating victim, or when the guy flies out from wherever to write a check to Orleans Court, the deal is they dismiss the case. That's part of the deal. We dismiss the case and I write you the check. Yep. Now that's how I'm correct. So we do work on these cases. It's hard with cryptocurrency, it's extremely hard. You get that money back and find out where it went. And when people in other states, I'm not going out to Mississippi to go grab someone for a couple $1,000. I hope that makes sense, but it's just, that's why they create these layers like an onion. You know, kind of stay out of the grasp of law enforcement.
And we need 4 more questions.
So you said you have a way
Okay,
to,
this is the microphone.
oh, God. So you said you have a way to kind of track the websites where they're from or
Yes.
creating them. I'm just curious if most of them are created in the United States or are they created out, outside the United States?
Great question. Great. I'm seeing a lot, it's in Iceland, or I'll see overseas, Europe. That's where I'm seeing a lot of these, Russia also. It'll show me sometimes a city. So when you go on, you buy a domain name, right, for your website, maybe, Andy's toothpick. I will do toothpicks, my business, right? Andy's toothpick company. And then you pay for that, .com or .org or .whatever name. You're paying for that through GoDaddy or Namecheap or something. So you're paying for that name, and then you're also creating a website. Creating a website with Weebly or Wix. So that's where I start to see when it was created, when name was bought and created to make that website. And sometimes I can see the IP address. I'm not trying to get too deep, but I can see the internet protocol and IP address. It's a thumbprint. Or you all have one on your phone, you have one on your computer. You can see it, you see the IP addresses, and I'll see 10 websites attached to one IP address. These are things I can do. If you call me, I can help them. So, and yes, a lot of them are out of time.
Here's the microphone is coming.
I'm wondering if a debit card is less secure than a credit card. My wife keeps on telling me to use my credit card, don't use my debit cards.
They're both very secure. I would just suggest that you look at your accounts frequently, so if you use online banking at all, because the important thing is that you report immediately, especially if that doesn't belong, so that way we can take care of that for you. It's really important that you talk with us right away.
Is there more liability? In other words, if I use my debit card, I'm responsible for it, whereas if I use a credit card, the bank is more liable.
There's some credit cards that have additional insurance on it. So in some cases, there are cases where you might be more protected on a credit card, but you don't want to assume that you are more protected because you're using a credit card. So no matter what way you go with it, you do want to make sure you're checking the credit card statement. You're checking your debit card, your checking account, to make sure that you're reporting anything. And anytime you think that something might be compromised or if something might not sound right, you want to call right away to be shut off.
I have heard that you're safer, or the liability is less with a credit card than a debit card. Because it's coming right out of your bank account, not like today. I'm just paying this money, so.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, sir. This-
Yeah.
She's got a question.
What Andy just said, debit card is immediate, and a credit card you have time for.
Okay.
I think we use a debit card for some things that you're not sure of. You don't have as much choice if it goes wrong. Am I right in that? Because a debit card goes right.
So it all depends on what has happened with it. So if you've given your card number willingly to someone, not realizing maybe at the time that it was fraud, you might have more protections through a credit card. But you would really want to make sure that you know your credit card and what they're willing to protect. So it's not a blanket statement where it's always going to be state card. But yeah, that's a good one as well.
But that sounds like you should check with your bank specifically to know the level of your protection.
Do look almost a physical on your financial, right? Just check what's going on in your account, look at your statements, get those alerts. It's not annoying to me. I get the alert saying we bought coffee.
I use Quicken, which is an Intuit product,
Yes.
and I sign on every day. It goes and looks at every account I have. They've got 5, city, etc. And every transaction comes down, so you get a chance to take a look at it. And I find that very effective.
Yeah.
Now, once in a while, I'll find something, And usually it's legitimate. If I go on the website for a city, for instance, it's, you can recognize the firm, but the way they display it, it's a little shaky. So,
Right, they'll have like a code of TST with a number, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's a gas station usually.
yeah. But I find that is very, very good.
Yeah.
It's every day.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I just think to prevent yourself from seeing. I've been scammed. I've been ripped off. I've been scammed. I've had, been breached. There's ways to. There's websites I can tell you or talk to you about. You want to call me? I just don't want to put it out publicly right here, but I can show you where you can go to see if your account's been compromised or if your password is out there in the World Wide Web. Yeah, call me.
If I lied before, we're not limited to 4. So any more questions?
You can charge.
We still have a little time. Okay.
I hope it was helpful. I mean,
Absolutely.
it was a job. If you grab your pen,
Yeah. Griffey, Tennis,
One thing that's are over on that side, please don't forget it.
Yes.
Next job.
All right, yeah, so- We have more paper to hand out, and there are people here, so take some of and give them.